Hey, it's Lauren. Thank you so much for listening to The Afterlight. Enjoy the episode. This episode's been brought to you by the Raw Spirit Team. Growing your business is just the beginning. Too many business owners try to grow their business on their own. They spend countless hours testing out and investing in hundreds of strategies, all with the aim of building their business. Without support, someone helping to guide you and cheering you on, motivation starts to go down. Your passion starts to decrease, you start running out of money and losing faith in your business and yourself. The Raw Spirit Team is a supportive community filled with expert programming, up-to-date training, guest experts, mentorship, and like-minded business owners. This isn't another community and another strategy. This is a serious and supportive community of business owners focused on supporting each other and building their business. You are welcome here. Welcome to the show. I am joined today by Kate Beloved. She is a visionary, a crystal sound weaver, a speaker for the unseen realms, an intuitive soul artist, a spirit dancer, and the angel code oracle. But truth be known, she really is passionate about serving you. Today, Kate is going to be joining me to talk about all things angels. We're going to be talking about the Angel Code Oracle. I'd like to know all about her spiritual journey began and how she kind of, got into crystal sound weaving and, becoming a visionary. What is a visionary? And we're going to be talking about all things astro-numerology as well. And we might throw in some channeling, tarot readings. Who knows? It's an hour of just, two of us hanging out. And there are so many directions that we could go in, Kate. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much. Beautiful. That's awesome. It's wonderful being here with you and talking about my favorite things in the world.
Yes, me too. It's definitely some of my favorite conversations that I've ever had talking about this sort of stuff as well. So why don't we kind of go back a little bit? I mean, I read that, you kind of have a bunch of titles associated with your name, but, I would assume that you didn't necessarily start there. So if you wouldn't mind, maybe how did your spiritual journey sort of kick itself off, if so to speak?
Well, the truth is I came in like this. I wasn't one of those that had gone back to sleep, but things happened that I didn't know. First of all, I didn't talk a lot about what was going on because I didn't know that it was different than anyone else. So I've always played in the other realms, but I thought everyone did.
Right.
I didn't you're right? Yeah. I didn't understand healing, and growing up, my parents thought I was a hypochondriac who was never sick in my entire life.
Right.
But if I was near someone, I would pick things up, and then I would be talking about these things, not knowing that that was an empath.
Right.
And it wasn't until I was 18 and home from university that I realized, oh, wait a second. There's something else going on here, because I had this crazy experience of being in bed at night and feeling like I was going to die, and then realizing I wasn't, that I was going to be okay. And it was at that moment I realized I was pulling in the experience of a dear, dear friend of my parents who was hospitalized, not expected to live, with the stroke. Mm-hmm. And it was at that moment that I realized, oh my goodness, all these things, as far as empathic things, aren't me. I never thought they were me, because like I said, I was never sick a day in my life.
Yeah.
But that started when that was the only thing that I talked about. That's the only reason I bring it up. That was the only part that I talked about when I was little. I didn't
Right.
talk about playing with the fairies. I didn't talk about, seeing all of the beings and talking to all the beings and all those things that we call imaginary friends,
Yeah.
right? Not imaginary. But I just didn't talk about them because I thought it was everyone's experience.
Right. Okay. I want to go back for a minute, but just before I do, Kate, there seems to be a bit of a background rumbling where you are, maybe. Have you noticed that?
I have not noticed that, but there's a big storm outside.
That's what it is. There's a storm.
And you can hear that? Yes, I'm on the beach.
Okay, wonderful. Well, that's very okay. I like it. It's good to add some
perfect.
context. So there we go.
Yes.
Okay, so listen, I need to go back for a minute just to kind of clarify.
Okay.
So, first of
That
all,
would be
for our
good.
listener at home, one of our
Yes.
previous episodes, I did interview Keandra from the Empath School. So, if you're not
Yes.
familiar with what Kate is talking about in relation to the word empath and what types of empaths there are, go back and listen to that episode because we're not going to get into that today. I've got too many other things I want to go into with Kate. So, but that being said, so as an empath, we know that you're intuitively picking up, the health ailments or the conditions of other people around you. So you're talking about how when you were 18 and you went home and you were in bed and you were all of a sudden overcome with, I guess, the feeling of being sick and feeling like this was going to be, your transition time. And then you understood that you were picking up the feelings of somebody else who was a close family friend to you. So I'm wondering how you understood at that time that it wasn't your stuff, or if I've misunderstood you.
I just knew. And what I might not have said is they were fine. And I knew in that moment they were going to have a full recovery, which they did.
Okay.
Which they did. So
okay.
I was running that energy, but I wasn't running it until they were recovering. And it was amazing and it was wonderful.
One of the challenges of empaths is that we sometimes take on the pain of other people to help them deal with their pain, or sometimes we take it on, as a way of like connecting with a person or, right. And so for me, it's taken me a long time, like up to now, I'm 37, to figure out, oh, wait a minute, sometimes if I have an ailment, it doesn't belong to me. So it's such a nice thing that you were able to figure that out at 18 and just have that kind of inner knowing, although it sounds like you've always sort of had that resilience and that intuitive connection with your soul guidance, I guess you could say.
Yes. And I've always known that it wasn't, when I would talk about these things, it was my parents that thought, oh my God, she's a hypochondriac. Because like I said, I was never sick.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
So it was just, a really crazy thing. One thing I'd love to share with you?
What?
Right off the bat is my name.
Okay.
Because that's a really big deal.
Yes, let's talk about it.
Okay. My name is Kate Beloved, and it wasn't always, okay? Years and years ago, it was Kate. And then in 2010, I had an experience where I was standing in meditation, and in front of me was a bench with a huge light being and 3 light beings on either side of them. And I looked down at myself and I'm all in white. And the next thing I know, I'm kneeling. And the being in the center, this beautiful, big cosmic being, had a huge light sword like Michael. Mm-hmm. And he's dubbing me. And he dubbed me Beloved, Warrior of Light. You have always been from system to system to system from the beginning of time. And you are now activated.
Wow.
And yeah. And I said, excuse me, because I'm a sassy fairy woman, right? I don't come by. This is it, right?
I was going to say you've got red hair, so I'm understanding the sassiness. There we go.
Yes. And I'm saying to them, excuse me, you want me to walk around and call myself beloved and wear white all the time? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because I have always dealt with spirit that way, you know. And it took me the first 2 years, I used Kate Beloved because it was the only way I could add beloved. And now Kate, I never use Kate. It's always, when I introduce myself, it's always, hi, I'm Kate Beloved. Most people call me beloved. And what I was told is when people call me beloved, then they are experiencing the beloved within them.
Wow.
So I know, and it's so crazy. And I'm really funny about that because it took me so long to be able to step into that contract and step into that energy and actually call myself beloved.
I love that, beloved. Thank you for sharing that story. And when you were telling me that, I got total goosebumps. It sounds like, you know, I love that you were talking about how it was challenging to step into that role, because I guess maybe you felt a certain sense of responsibility, or did you feel a certain sense of real commitment to that path?
I think it was both, but I also had this thing which I've had most of my life, which is like a reverse ego. It's like, I can't walk around calling myself beloved. What are you, crazy? You know, it's like, it took me a long time to understand there is no hierarchy.
Right.
It's an even playing field. Mm-hmm. And it took me a long time to be able to let go of that. And by the way, whenever I'm in public doing ceremony, because I lead all kinds of ceremonies, I'm always in white, except for new moon when I'm in black.
Okay.
But
it's beautiful because you're honoring, you know, your own path. Can I go back to what you said earlier? Because I thought it was really important. You said that, you know, when you had that experience where you were, I was going to say knighted, but I guess not really, but, you know, the same sort of gesture.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of gave me the impression that you sometimes challenge the direction you're being given by spirit, challenge the information that you're being given. And I guess I wanted to bring that up because I have heard that conversation before from some of my guests, where some of them felt that they needed to do the things that they were asked to do or told to do because it came from a non kind of human level. And it almost seemed as though, you know, they needed to do that without understanding that they could also exercise their own free will. So I kind of wanted your thoughts on that, because I think that it's really important to discern what is right for you on your journey. And you did talk off the, you know, the top of the hour that you're somebody who didn't forget. Well, most of us have forgotten, and we're trying to, like, we're on our path to remember, but we are still humans. Like, we're in a human body living a human experience. So it's about having that sort of balance all at the same time.
We chose to, my teachings and my belief, we chose to come in to this life on this planet at this point to experience what we can only experience in physical form.
Yeah.
And we have the ability to feel into what is right for us, especially if we're in service. And this is a big deal for me. I came in service. But at the same time, if I'm not wholly committed to that, I can't serve well.
Right.
And I have, not as a human, but as a divine soul being, the ability and the opportunity to run it through and to see where it sits with my soul. And
Yeah,
that's where it is for me.
Right. Okay. So I think that that is so key, because I think that one of the challenges that we have with being human, or living the human experience, right?
Yeah.
Is that we have been almost conditioned to look for outside validation for our decision making, right? And I think that
Yes.
when you're privy to understanding that, when you know innately that something just is this way, sometimes people want justification, and it's like, well, I can't explain it to you. I just know I'm supposed to go that way. All right.
Exactly.
And I'm hearing that that's kind of your truth as well, that when you know, and then you act forward, and you move into that direction. Whereas, I guess, do you think sometimes if you're given an opportunity, you do take some time to reflect on whether or not it serves you, or do you kind of know sometimes right away?
It's both.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely both.
Yeah.
But there are many times, I began working with the angels in 1983.
I was born in 1983, girl.
Oh, happy birthday! It was a very good year.
It was.
So before then, I had always worked with unseen realms and partnered, but not with the angels. And I didn't know anything about them.
Right.
And when they first came in, it was incredibly fabulous. My primary guide for everything is Archangel Ariel, the angel of prosperity, of abundance, of intuition, of magic, of strength. And when they first came in and they started working with me, I would just laugh, because I remember the first time I was awakened in about 4:30 in the morning. That seems to be my magic time, the ambrosia hours. And I was awakened at 4:30. And I opened my eyes, and my husband was away. And from his side of the bed, this beautiful shape came and just flew silently right over me and landed on the other side of the bed, right back on the floor. And I knew it was an angel. And then not long after that, I was awakened again and invited to get up and go to the window. And I said, yeah, it's 4:30 in the morning. I'm not going to any window. I have a rule for myself: 3 times and I'll do it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I did. I got out of bed and I went and I stood by the window, and there was nothing going on. There was nothing at the window. So I went back to bed. And then a few nights later, I was awakened at the same time, and I heard, get up and go to the computer. And I said, I'm not getting up and going to any computer. It's 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Finally, I did, and I'm half asleep, and they say, turn it on. I say, okay. I turn it on. They say, put your fingers on the key. Okay. And oh my goodness, the writing began. So I will say, no, I'm not playing your game, and I have rules. You can talk to me now. I'm open and available, but I'm not open and available all the time.
Right. So you say rules, but it's boundaries, essentially.
It is boundaries. And I think that some people who live a spirit, or I like to say a soul life, a life through the soul, don't always set boundaries.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, doing those boundaries. So I do that with Archangel Ariel. When they first started writing and I first started taking their messages down, they end everything with, "We are complete, end transmission."
Wow.
And the first time I said, "Yeah, right. You want me to think you're an angel? You sound like a damn Trekkie."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I felt like saying, "Who is this really?" But our relationship has been so, so amazing. This has been going on. I've been working with Ariel since, well, they say eons and eons and eons, from the beginning, but in this timeline since the 90s. And there have been things that they invite me to do that like they wanted me, I became a painter about 15 years ago. I never was a painter. They said, "Okay, now we're inviting you to paint." I said, "I'm not a painter." So I stand in front of a canvas and I paint. And then they give me messages to go with it. Or with the books. I'm now doing the 4th book. Will be out before the end of the year. And when they first came in, "We want you to write." I come from advertising. I'm a fabulous copywriter.
Yeah.
I'm really good, or was back then. They want me to write. I said, "What, you want a book of sound bites?" Because I was writing for TV and radio and spots, right?
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, right." So we write. And my biggest thing has been trust. Learning to trust. So I will say, no, I'm not a writer. I'm not a painter. But then when it settles in, it's like, oh yeah, you know what? I am. We all are. And that's the thing. I have been teaching people, our whole thing is abundance and prosperity. That's the whole thing I awaken in people, is their abundance and prosperity. And Ariel came in the beginning and said, "No, it's your process that you teach. It's your process. You have to be authentic and you have to be there." And once I learned to trust, then that's a great gift that is part of my service to others. Everyone has angels. I'm no different than anyone else. Everyone can pick up on their intuition. Everyone has the ability to be all-knowing. It's about getting out of our own way and about trusting. And we came here to live a delicious life of abundance.
Yeah.
Not one of us chose to come on this planet to struggle, to be ill, to be impoverished, and not to live our dreams. We're master manifestors. We are master creators.
I want to go into that a little bit more, but I want to go back for a minute.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'll take us there because I love talking about that sort of stuff too. And I'm definitely interested in the fact that, we seem to think that living a life of abundance isn't deserved or that it's shallow in some way. So I'd like to talk about that. But before I do that, can I just I just want to clarify some things for our listener at home, I guess. So when you were talking about getting up and writing and you were talking about painting, so you would define that in a way as channeling, right?
Yes.
Right.
It is channeling.
So when you're writing, for example, just because if people aren't familiar with this, I want to ensure that they're not having an objection and not listening to everything else that we're talking about. So,
yes.
Are you essentially not censoring the stream of information you're getting in your mind? It's almost in a way, if we explain it in human terms, it's all in your head. It's almost like in your imagination, and then you're just letting it out through your fingers, and you're not necessarily feeling as though it's beloved writing this. It's from something other than you. Is that kind of right?
It's definitely right. And I don't see it or hear it as I'm writing. I'm a vocal channel too. and I do not hear the messages when they're spoken. So I don't censor them. They're just there.
I love that a lot. And I just want to say this one thing, because I interviewed a woman on the show, like, ages ago. And she was basically talking about how when she channels, I said, how do you not interfere? Like, how do you not put your own perspective or your own thoughts into that, right? And this is Sandy Turkington, the episode with Sandy Turkington. And she said that because she meditates, she's able to separate her, almost like her human mind. She didn't say it exactly like that, but from the stream of consciousness from spirit. And so that's how she's not meddling the two. She had like the two thought, or the two minds in a way. And I just thought that made so much sense, because up to that point, I didn't really understand how you wouldn't have your own perspectives kind of meddled in with it. Do you know what I mean? So is that how it kind of, how you would describe it almost for yourself?
That's a wonderful way to describe it. But again, I'm not aware of what's coming in. So I'm not censoring. What I do is move completely out of the way. Totally. And whether I'm painting, whether I'm writing, or whether I'm speaking, I'm out of the way. I give permission. And when they first asked me to begin speaking, I was really scared. And I said, and you're probably not old enough to know who this is, but I said to them, I'm setting boundaries here. Number one, I'm not looking like Ramtha. And
I actually do know who Ramtha is.
Okay, Jay-Z Knight, and she's amazing. And she was the first one I had ever seen channel.
Yes, it's actually learned, when I first learned about quantum physics, I learned from a guy who studied with Ramtha. So actually, can you explain for our listener at home what you mean by that? Because your body changes.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. Mm-hmm.
Yes, everything changes. If people at home are okay, I'll be glad to speak and let Ariel speak.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Is that cool?
Oh, I see. You're going to do it now. Okay. Sure.
Is that okay?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Good day. We're here with you in this room, the angel who's called Ariel. We come to you through little one here whom you know as Kate Beloved or Beloved. We have been coming through her for many, many years, for eons. And we hear that you are asking questions on how this happens. So you see, in the beginning, when we first began coming through, and you did hear little one, because we call her little one, you did hear her say that she had requested that she not appear as Ramtha. What she meant by that was she didn't want to freak people out, But here is what happens. When you agree to allow your physicality to be present for, we're going to use the word higher, but you understand that we know there is no higher. Yes, they are different timelines, different places. But when you serve in this way, there is a coming together of energetic signatures. So when it began with little one, she could not open her eyes. She was in total trance, a total trance channel. And those are just words, but all that means is her eyes were closed, and you may notice, because you can actually see, we know that your listeners cannot, but you might notice still a shift in countenance. because there is a shift that occurs, but it's not the way it was in the beginning. We have been working together for so long. So what happens is the longer we work together, our frequencies or signatures begin to meld, and little ones begin to rise. And so as they come closer together, there is less of this distortion, which is not truly distortion.
Right.
Now, the voice, the reason the voice changes is because there is still the vibrations coming from each of us. And so it comes out differently. Now, you will notice that the use of our language is different. And that is because that is what we say. Now, little one brings forth many. The divine feminine comes through, Yeshua comes through, Saint Germain comes through. Each one is very different than the other, because each one has their own energetic signature, as you do, as each being does. Even these beautiful beings that you have upon your planet, you know, these little ones, these four-leggeds and two-leggeds and flying things. Each thing has its own energetic signature. So that is what happens. And that's why people can appear different and sound different. It's just the merging of the energetics. So.
Understood. Thank you.
You are most welcome. We are complete for now. End transmission. Okay.
So essentially so Ariel was saying that essentially, like, because when you started doing that, there was clearly a difference in articulation. The way you spoke was different, but then I could hear the odd time that your sound came back here and there. So is that because over time you've kind of learned to, I don't know, almost transmit in a way that's more natural to you or less kind of jarring? I'm not using the right words necessarily,
Yes.
but less different.
Yes, we're coming together more and more and more. And at some point, there might not be any difference at all.
Right.
But for now, yeah.
It's really
But
neat.
it's very different than it was 20 years ago. And I have people from the beginning who are disappointed because they used to love to see the whole change.
Yeah, well, because I think in a way you feel it. I'm sure you can appreciate this. So in a way you feel like it's almost just too good to be true. Right? And so I could see how when the transition is so, I don't know, maybe like, I don't know, polar opposite to you, let's pretend, that it almost, for some people, it would feel more like realistic, or that they, right?
Yes, I think that's true. Yeah, absolutely.
But I do appreciate that it would be more comfortable for you to be sitting into it in a way that isn't so foreign.
It is more comfortable and it's easier on my body.
Yeah.
You know, it's much easier. The other thing is I have no idea what they say. So that was where our conversation began, right?
Yeah.
I have no idea what they said. I never know what they say.
Yeah.
I do moon ceremonies twice a month in my Facebook group. I've got a women's community. And I go back and watch at the end so I can hear.
Yes, get the message.
So I can get the message. Yeah, because I don't know. I mean, I have no idea.
It's so interesting. One of the things that Ariel mentioned was that you channel other spirits.
I do
as well. So I'm not asking you to do that now, but I'm just assuming that sometimes the sound or the voice would sound a little bit different in those areas too.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different. Lately, for several months now, the divine feminine has been coming in.
What's the divine feminine about?
The way they come through me, most of what they've been bringing through, is that it's time now on our planet for the divine feminine to really be present and really awaken, because that's how we get to peace, and that's how we get to unity. And they've been very clear to say that the divine feminine is not only in female bodies, right? We, in our feminine bodies, we hold the divine masculine as well as the divine feminine.
Yeah.
But that now it's time for the divine feminine to really step up.
Is that because we're not taking
forward.
care of ourselves? We're not nurturing ourselves. We're not, practicing empathy and compassion. We're not, that we're kind of, I guess when I think of the divine feminine, I guess less about ego when I think of that.
Yeah. I think that's true too. A lot of what they've been bringing through is the need for us to shift the planet. That we are, we're at a precipice, and we can shift this. And that we're at the great reset, the great awakening. It's like being, and I like to think of this time as being in the cocoon. We're cocooning, we're in the chrysalis, and we don't yet know what butterflies will emerge. But we're within, and we've had this opportunity for about 6 months to really go within and to see, okay, what's important? Where am I going? What am I bringing forth? How am I making a difference? And of course, it begins with self. It begins with self. Mm-hmm. So yes, about self-care and nurturing, and it's time to really step into kindness. And there are so many people, I'm always so amazed. There's so many people that don't realize how beautiful they are and how magnificent they are, and they're unkind. They would never be unkind to someone else, but they're unkind to themselves. Mm. So the divine feminine is bringing that message as well, that it's time to be in our hearts and living heart-centered, which is where our soul resides, is in our heart, and to come out of our heads, which doesn't mean don't use your brain. It doesn't mean don't develop these fabulous businesses and ideas and run with that. But it means doing it from a place of honor and respect. And, the divine feminine is many things. Mother, yes. Warrior, yes. Sassy, yes. Lover, yes. She's everything. She's everything. And it's time to step into that, to the whole of it. She also wants us to look at other women as sisters, as friends, and not as competition. because it's time to be a supportive sisterhood everywhere.
Yeah.
And part of that is remembering how abundant we are. If you see a woman that is just, I mean, she's just flying, she's just taking off, that doesn't mean that because she's taking off, there's not enough to go around.
Yes, exactly.
You know, there is
Yes.
plenty. It's time to really support that.
Yes.
And not just supporting women, supporting men as well.
Yeah.
We're at the time of our evolution that it's time to be supportive. It's time to call on all of our unseen helpers. It's time to partner with them, time to partner with the angels, awaken to our own intuition, to our own hearts, because everyone has this. So the divine feminine has been stepping in, especially in the women's circle, you know, in the goddess circle.
Can we talk a bit about how you, so many things I want to say. So first of all, when you talk about the divine feminine, is that an entity? Is that a grouping of entities? Is that?
It's an energy. It's a group energy, the same way angels are.
Okay.
Angels are not a being. Ariel explains it this way. Angels are a group energy. They have no name. We give them names because we need it.
Right.
But it's a soul group. The divine feminine is a soul group.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that. Okay. So
Yes.
I love how you're talking about the importance of connecting with heart. And
Yes.
I agree with that, because I think that, you know, it seems as though a lot of challenges people have is for self-love, for sure.
Yes.
So, you know, how do people get started with that? How do they, are affirmations a helpful thing to get started? Are, you know, cleansing the people around you to make sure you're surrounding yourself by supportive people? Or is it even about your environment? If it's self-love, you know, is cultivating time for self-care? I mean, how do you connect with your heart and have that compassion for your journey?
It's really, you know, the first thing is to be open and to be aware. I am really big on heart breath. You know what heart breath is?
No.
Would you like to experience some?
Sure.
Okay. May I do a bowl?
Sure.
Okay.
So now we're getting into the crystal sound weaving, is that right?
Yes, just a tad.
Okay.
Okay. This, I think, is just so important. So I invite you, and I invite everyone listening, to just close your eyes and just close and just breathe. Just breathe naturally. You don't have to do anything with your breath. And now I invite you to bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. And just breathe. And now, as you breathe, just feel into your heart. Just breathe into your heart And you might feel your heart light. You might feel your heart warm. And you might not feel any of that. And that's perfectly fine. As you breathe into your heart, just feel that connection. And now on this next breath, take a nice deep breath in and imagine breathing in love. And exhaling anything that you're through with. And just keep breathing in love. You might even be aware that love feels a particular way, or on your next deep breath, breathe in love that you have for someone in your family. It might be a parent or a sibling or a child. And it might even be love that you felt for them a long time ago. And just feel that. And on the next in-breath, breathe in love that you have for a partner, a romance, a husband, a wife. It might even be love that you once felt. But breathe it in. And just fill yourself with beautiful, blissful, romantic love. And then take another deep breath, and on your next breath, breathe in love that you might have for a friend, and feel that love, feel that in your heart, in your being, in your field. And on your next in-breath, breathe in love that you might have for a pet. And feel that. And on your next breath, breathe in love, love for yourself. Take another deep breath in, breathing in love for you. And knowing that you are loved. And exhale anything that keeps you from feeling that love. On the next in-breath, breathe in compassion. And exhale, empathy. And breathe in empathy. And exhale compassion. And as you breathe, bring yourself, your awareness back to your body.
That was awesome. That was a gift. Thank you so much. That was really special.
Cool.
Yeah.
You are so welcome. So heart breath, just such, it's just such a beautiful thing to just really connect with your heart. And we can all do that, just breathing in love and then breathing out anything that you're finished with.
Yeah, and do you think sometimes if you can't even place what you're finished with at the time, if you're just breathing out with that intention, it takes care of itself?
I do.
Yeah.
I absolutely do. That gets back to the trust.
Yeah.
Right? Just trust.
Listen, it's already been an hour. I don't even know.
Oh my
we haven't
God.
even
we were all over
yeah,
the
but we
place.
haven't even gone to all the directions I would like to go in. So are you happy to talk for a few more minutes?
Yes, of course.
Okay. And then maybe I would love if we would have another conversation at another time where we can get actually,
Sure.
then we can talk maybe in our next conversation about, really get into the angel code oracle. We can talk more about astro-numerology. I wanted to know more about unseen realms and things like that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. But I really think that, we need to kind of finish up here with talking about the abundance mindset, manifestation, and things like that. So one thing that I feel is that we live in a world where there's a lot of fear, obviously. Sometimes I feel that, people believe that they need to live with scarcity. And that if they want or desire things that are, let's use the word luxurious, let's get crazy, use the word luxurious, that on some level it's shallow, or that it would be taking away from someone else. And so I wanted to talk to you a bit about that, but I also wanted to share one small story with you,
Okay.
kind of on what you were talking about before. So I did a workshop a little while back on purposeful leadership. And one of the things that we ended with was I had everybody make vision boards, because I wanted them to feel that, they were in the driver's seat of their life, and they had the control. And if they knew where to direct their energy,
Sure.
that will help them, right? Yeah. What was really interesting is all the participants I had, four at the time, it's not like I had 1,000, but my point is still the same. They all had different vision boards. And that just proved in that one small example that we all desire at times different things. And so
Yes.
when we, talk about abundance mindset, it's kind of goes back to what you were talking about before, in a sense that, there's enough for everyone to go around. And the
Yes.
lovely thing is that you, beloved, you might desire something that's totally different from me, which means we're not taking away from each other. And I love how you talked about, sisterhood and women and supporting each other. And, I feel that at times when you can be happy for other people, when you can fill your own tank with gratitude, that's when you
Yeah,
get on the frequency of being able to receive. So I just was wondering if you could comment
absolutely.
on the thoughts of being shallow and, in relation to wanting, because it's not
Yeah,
always about wanting stuff, but it's about wanting a quality of life. For me, I would much rather buy all eco things and all organic foods and things like
sure.
that to nurture my body, but those are always more expensive, right? So maybe if you could talk a bit about that, and also whether or not you had any thoughts on getting on the frequency of receiving and feeling deserving.
Okay. Um, you see, okay, this is one of the things that is, I think, the basis of everything. And that is understanding that we are energy. We're energetic beings. But so is everything. Everything vibrates. This table vibrates, right?
Yes. Yes.
We cannot create, invoke, or have what does not match our vibration. You can't do it.
Right. Because like attracts like magnets.
Exactly, because we are magnet. But what we can do is continually work on ourselves to move ourselves up. Yes. So, for example, and I believe in luxury. I have no problem. My friends call me the magic manifester. If it's out of my mouth, it's here.
Yes. Thank you.
My
More,
most
please.
like, absolutely, absolutely. My time. Okay, part of it's about pampering ourselves. Everybody's pamper, like vision boards. Everybody's pamper is different.
Yeah.
Okay, my pampering is my tub. And I just ordered a 2-person, 17-inch deep freestanding tub.
Yes, girl.
Yeah,
Love it.
that's it. With the teak tray
Oh,
for a glass of wine or a cup of tea and a book and my candles and the whole thing.
oh my God. I love it. I'll
That's
take
my
one. Thank
thing.
you.
That's it. That's that's my thing.
Yeah.
To me, that might not be your thing. It might not be someone else's thing. But I believe it starts there. What is the most luxurious thing that you can think of for yourself in this time? For someone, it might be taking a walk on the beach. For someone, it might be having the perfect cup of espresso or cup of tea, or curling up with a good book. We all have our own understandings of prosperity and abundance and luxury.
Yes.
But if we start there and we treat ourselves well, I don't want to hear you say, yeah, my luxury, the most luxurious thing I can think of is to sit with a glorious cup of tea by myself for 20 minutes. Oh, goodness, with my journal, and but I don't have the time. Girl,
I was waiting for the other shoe to drop there. I was like, what's wrong with that?
That's it.
Yeah.
If you don't have the time to do that for yourself, you don't have the mindset for prosperity and abundance, and you don't have the vibration for it.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds hard,
but that's why you might not be having that time.
That's right. That's where it starts.
Yeah.
And that gets back to self-worth. I'm not worth taking 20 minutes out. Write it in your doggone planner.
Yeah.
Write it in your planner. You enjoy wine, but times are hard, and you know, you'd love a $40 bottle of wine, but your pocketbook says a $4 bottle of wine. Buy the $4 bottle of wine and enjoy it every day.
Yeah.
And enjoy it with as much gratitude as you would the $40 or the $100. I remember my husband is off planet, but when we first married, we went on a trip and we decided, and this was back in the day, we were each going to take $10, which was probably about $25 today. And as a game and as a joy and as a gift to each other, we were going to buy each other one thing for that. And we went in Florida to St. Almond's Circle, which is, you know, a beautiful shopping area. And he gifted me with one bar of soap. One bar of soap. And I gifted him with one cream for shaving, because he had a beard and he liked to do that. Yeah. It was the most luxurious thing I could find that he would enjoy. And he gave me the most luxurious thing. And we set a limit on purpose. We gave each other a limit. And it was, okay, but what's in your heart? What do you see as luxury? What do you see as abundance and prosperity?
Yeah. Bars of soap too are so luxurious. Some of them are just exquisite is actually the word.
Exactly. Especially today.
Yeah, especially.
So, yeah, really. Because now, oh my goodness, and they're so beautiful today.
Oh, yeah.
And some have gems in them and crystals, and oh my goodness, I could go on forever. But the first thing to knowing that someone is worth it is to treat yourself first. Treat yourself first. And I'm sorry, I don't see that as selfish. If I can't treat myself well, I can't serve you well.
Yeah.
I can't. It's the same thing as being on the plane with the oxygen, right? You've got someone with you that needs it, you do yours first. Because if I don't feel taken care of, if I don't feel connected to my soul, I can't give to you. Yeah. I can't. not as beautifully and unencumbered and graciously as I want to do.
Yeah.
So gift yourself. Everyone listening, the first thing I want you to take and just write down what for you is luxury. And then I want you to do it.
Yeah.
And make yourself a promise. Okay, the 16th, in 2 weeks' time, because we're coming up on full moon, and I'm really big on moon manifesting, the new moon in Libra, and Libra is Venus ruled. That's all about people think that Libra is all about justice and balance and harmony, but it's also about luxury, about beauty, about love. It's Venus. And that is coming up in 2 weeks. So between now and then, and if you miss this one, on the next new moon, because I don't know when you're listening, but by the next new moon, I want you to do something for yourself that is a sign of prosperity and abundance. And know that you are worth it. And it's not being selfish to take time for yourself. It's not being selfish. I know people, especially women that are such givers, that will go out and they will do for everyone else. And they don't think anything about, just getting a little gift for someone just because, but they don't do it for themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's so true. I want to share a story quickly. So
sure.
So obviously we're going through COVID at the moment. So I had my birthday in March. You and I are recording this end of September, 2020, depending on when people listen.
Yeah.
And so I had a gift certificate to go and get a facial and a pedicure, which is, facials are like one of my favorite things in life. That's I love that. So anyway, by the time I was able to go, it was actually just like a couple months ago or a month and a half ago, right? When they reopened. So I remember I'm getting my facial and I'm lying there and I'm thinking to myself, I want this every month. I need to create a way that I can have this every month, because I was thinking about how it forced me to take a break.
Yes.
I thought about all the smells and the luxuriousness of it, and how it's helping my skin, all these sort of things. It made me just take time to nurture my own spirit. So I ended up leaving. And about a month and a half later, I thought about, how hard I'd been working and I needed a break. And I thought, well, what am I doing? I'm going to book myself in for a facial. And I ended up getting my tax return also.
Yes.
So I went, all right, screw it. I'm going to do it. So I booked myself in for a facial, because I think sometimes we do have this, well, it's got to be a special occasion or whatever, right?
Exactly.
So I booked myself in for a facial last month. And while I was there, I went, you know what? I've got money right now. I am going to book myself in for a facial, and I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to get a 1-hour massage, and I'm going to pay for it all now, so that I just know that it's just going to be a luxurious thing. And so I'm going and doing that. It's either on October 9th or October 16th, actually. It's one of those 2 days. So it's already paid, it's already booked in, and it's already done. And I kind of realized that, if I want that, it's up to me to prioritize that. Right. And so I just wanted to reinforce that if you want something, it's all well and good to sit back, but you can also, you can make it happen. Like you have to, take the steps to make it happen. And
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I thought was so important too about what you were just talking about, luxury, is luxury doesn't need to cost money. Because if a facial from a spa isn't in the books for you at the moment, it doesn't mean you can't make your own facial at home out of avocado or whatever it is. Go to Pinterest, do that. Or if the $4 wine, or the cup of tea and sitting in peace and taking a breath. And, yesterday, and this might sound ridiculous because people might do it every day, but I don't. I actually sat outside and I ate my lunch outside without working. And that was a big deal because that's not in my normal behavior.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and those are lovely, lovely things. And you're right. They don't have to cost money at all.
mm-hmm.
Another thing to realize, though, when we do spend money is dollars are just an energy exchange.
Yeah.
We're exchanging. It's a barter system, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
with your facials, you're exchanging, you're giving your money, they're giving you a facial.
Yeah.
So, but there are just so many ways that we can treat ourselves, but we need to treat ourselves, especially now during COVID.
Yeah.
It's really important. And that helps bring the self-love and the I'm worth it,
And then the ability to receive, because I am hearing from
Yes.
you, and you don't give to yourself first. In a way, how do you expect to be able to receive? Like, how will other people know how to treat you in a way, do you think?
I definitely think so. How many, I was guilty of this. I can remember years ago, I received an award from the city. I had a business then, like a brick and mortar business, and I was very active. And I received this amazing award. And I stood up, and the only thing I could say was, thank you. Because I went through a time in my life where receiving was difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the times that people just give us beautiful words.
Yeah.
And how many of you listening will do things when someone says, oh, thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Oh, it was nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Or you're so fabulous at that, blah, blah, blah. Oh no, I'm not that good. Like not, yeah.
Exactly. So I think it gets back to spirit. It gets back to knowing that we are divine souls. So if I believe that I am a divine soul and there's something there, and I don't care what you call it, goddess, God, the source, great spirit, or the tree, it doesn't matter. But if I'm part of that, and then I belittle myself, then I'm belittling the divine. If I acknowledge that I'm part of the divine, and you're part of the divine, and Susie Q is part of the divine, and Johnny's part of the divine, right?
Yeah.
Then when someone says something nice to me, I have to step up and say, oh, thank you so much, without the other language, because I'm making less out of something that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah. No, it does. And I think even just saying thank you so much is enough. You don't need to comment further.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much is a wonderful thing to say.
Yeah.
A beautiful thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is acknowledging other people. I'm forever telling other people how fabulous I think they are. Oh my God, you are so fabulous. You are so magnificent. Oh my goodness. I think that's really important that we do that. And I really mean it.
Yeah, that's,
when I say it, it's not inauthentic.
Yeah.
But just those kindnesses, when we get used to offering kindness, that's part of offering abundance and prosperity. That's part of what opens the conduit.
Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
getting on the same frequency to attract
Yeah.
more of the same.
Yes, exactly. And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's about keeping your frequency and getting your frequency in alignment with what you are creating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's a
good.
big deal.
Yeah, it's a big
Yeah.
deal. Yeah, it's a big deal because we're meant to, we're here to have a human experience, which is hard enough. And it doesn't mean that we need to deprive ourselves or live in fear or scarcity while we do it. We can.
Exactly. Exactly. We're
Yeah.
not meant to live in scarcity.
No.
We didn't sign up for scarcity.
No.
There's nothing noble about scarcity.
No, exactly. There's nothing noble about scarcity. That's so right.
No,
Yeah.
nothing noble about it.
No.
And usually, a lot of that is old messages stuck in our root chakras. Messages that we've heard. Like you have to work hard.
Yeah. Nothing comes easy.
Nothing comes easy. Don't be pound wise, penny wise, pound fool, whatever those things are.
Yeah.
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 So there's plenty for everyone. And you just have to know it. You just have to believe it. And I don't remember what brand it is that says fake it till you make it.
I don't know.
I think that's a brand. So I'm asking y'all out there, if you don't believe that there's plenty, if you don't believe that you are a powerful creator, if you don't believe that you can have your dreams and create, then I invite you to fake it till you make it. And just, again, start doing one thing. Before the new moon, whenever you're listening, do something that you label as prosperous, abundant, luxurious, and it doesn't have to involve money.
And one thing I'll say on that as well is I practice acting as if. So for me, acting as if is essentially you get clear on who you want to be and where you want to go, and you make decisions that take you there. So if I'm shopping, if I'm going to buy myself, let's say, a new sweater or something like that, I think about how would the woman in the future picture that I want to become, that I am becoming, would she wear this sweater? And I buy the clothes that she'll wear. And it's kind of like you're telling the world how to treat you, and you're transforming into your future version now, which is really powerful.
Isn't that powerful?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's what you're doing. You are actually absolutely transforming into that future you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's, the thing with intentions, when people write intentions, I don't use the word intention, because for me, intending's in the future. Well, I'm intending.
Right. So what do you use?
I use create. I do creation statement.
I like that because you're doing it now.
Yeah.
Oh, I like
I'm
that.
doing it now.
I like it a lot. But all of a sudden my body was like, yeah, like I got really excited.
Isn't that cool? But it's the same thing, as if when you're setting your creation statement, it's as if it's not, oh, I'm bringing in this amazing job. No, it's I am enjoying this amazing job where I love my work and the hours are perfect. And I am now in the present. I am now in the present.
Yeah.
In the present. Because when we do that, we're actually creating an invocation.
Yes.
We're invoking, we're calling in, and that is powerful.
Yes.
So it's the same thing that you do.
Oh, that's so good.
With the as if.
Yeah, exactly. But I like using I do when I'm goal setting.
Yep.
So I guess maybe I need to look at my language, I suppose, but I did learn to say like, I have, 500 members in my membership, and then I go by and then I do a date. So I
Yep.
do work at affirming that this is now.
Yes.
Tomorrow never comes is what we're getting at.
Never. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
There's that saying that, let's see, yesterday's a canceled check. Tomorrow is, I can't remember what tomorrow is. And today is the present. It's
Yeah.
right. So we
Yeah.
only have today. Today is a present. It's our gift. We only have these moments. And if I'm in this moment, if I'm in today, I have no fear because fear is future. I have no anxiety because that's past.
Yeah.
I'm right here.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much, beloved, for such a powerful episode, for your gift of your heart center. I'm going to actually pull that and put it on its own thing as well, so people can listen to that separate also from our conversation. I feel as though I would love to talk to you again. There's just so many things. So hopefully we can arrange another time if you're up for it.
I would love that.
Yeah. So I just thank you so much for all your wisdom and your gifts, and for sharing Ariel's vision or, words with us as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really just a great conversation, and I love getting to know you more.
Thank you. I loved spending time with you. That was awesome. Just awesome. What a wonderful chat.
Yes. Hi. Thanks so much for listening to the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave us a review where you listen to your podcast and share it with your friends. Thank you. New episodes every Thursday.